Okay, so we're live on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're watching the replay or you're watching live, you're welcome to join us. If you go to mightyprocessserver.com, you can actually join us inside the community. We actually have a calendar, classroom training. We have a community chat where you can get in there and actually communicate with the members. We have about 100 members in there right now. Everyone is vetted and everyone is an actual process server. We know this. Okay. Or they're learning to be, actively learning to be. Okay. So today, what I want to do, I'm going to share the screen. We're going to get into some stuff. Let me bring the chat up here. Uh, Jessica says, my website paid for itself already in just a few days. Great. And it will pay you much more exponentially over the next couple months. And then you're going to learn some stuff today and every day if you show up. Those of you guys that show up, you're going to learn, and you're going to learn that the things I'm teaching you are things that I learned, and I had to learn the hard way sometimes, and sometimes I learned from others. And so hopefully you guys can learn from me and you can avoid some of the issues that you might go into. Okay, so all right, so this is my builder. This is Mighty Website Builder's dashboard. And I want to give you guys a couple things here. So one is that if any of the features that are not available to you, we can make them available. Okay. I'm not going to show you anything that you can't have essentially if you have us set up a website for you. So you can get in here. With that being said, there might be some widgets that are unavailable, um, just unnecessary widgets or whatever. So if you see it, but if I'm using it and showing you that how to use it, then it's probably something you can have, if that makes sense. So what we want to do is we want to add a page. Now, I actually don't have a page on this website. I've actually changed the name of my company 3 different times. I don't recommend doing that. I did it for different reasons, and I'm glad I did. The one of the times, okay, and that's when I went to 123 e-file, and now 123 legal support. But initially, I had and I have a shirt here that I pulled out of the closet. Let me just make my screen bigger here. This is 530 process servers. This was the seal. The California state seal is like exactly like this rope and with the little line on the inside. And 530 was the area code. And so this is what I would wear to the courthouse. And so you see this on my back. I had a couple polos too, but the shirts were like this and they had the thing. So if I was standing in line and you were an attorney behind me, this is what you got to stare at. 530 registered process servers serving with excellence, right? I can't tell you how many customers that got me just standing in line at the courthouse. So people are like, "Hey, I got court. Do you mind filing this for me? How much would you charge me?" That was a regular conversation. Anyway, yeah. So when I started out, this is what I get too off track here, but you change the name of your company for different purposes that you're trying to fulfill. I don't recommend it. If you can start with a name that's going to last the ages, that's even better. Okay. But I changed. I'm not going to go into all that. It's not that important, but I'll just say the last time the reason why it was important because 123 helped me rank at the very top of a directory, which was bringing 90% of my business already. So it made sense for me to change the name, at least for the software. Um, Cool. So one of the cool things that you can do inside the builder is you can create pages. Sometimes Desi will want some to help you with it because sometimes you can create a page and really mess stuff up on your website. There's a few reasons why, but one of them is that your links could get messed up and changed and stuff like that. So let's just what am I trying to do here? Features, blah blah blah. I just want a blank page, honestly. Let's do a FAQ page because then I can add links to it. Oh yeah, this is good. I like this. Okay, so we could do a page like this one. And we can actually add this page. I'll save it as a section and then you can add your links to it. Okay. So I'm going to add this section to my page. Now, on this new page, as I'm building it, okay, I'm going to add page to site. Boom. So now what's really cool, this is what we talked about the other day. You could make a page that's or affiliate links or something like that. Our memberships, our affiliate membership, something like that. You know, we partner with the best in the profession, in the industry, right? Something like that. And then what's cool is it will truncate. So see how I added a link over here? I got to get rid of that link real quick. Just going to hide on all because we don't need it to show up. We just need Google to crawl the page and find it. So this could be NAPS, right? You know, the National Association, right? You could actually give some details about what the National Association is. You could steal this as well. You can also, wherever you take the text, you can plug it into ChatGPT, have it reword it so it's not exactly like it is on another website. You know, you could add all the associations you're a part of. And because nobody's going to see this page, it's going to be, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's our FAQs. So the memberships are all the links. And so what you put here, you put a description of them, and then you would link this to your specific listing on NAPS. So, / your company, right? Whatever your link is for NAPS. Okay. And then, so to answer people's question, that's what it is. And so Google crawls your page, they see these links, they see your link back to NAPS. NAPS, of course, is linked back to you if you have a listing because obviously you put your website on there. So a lot of times people will get a membership somewhere and there's no spot for a website. I'm like, what are you talking about? You have to have a website on there, right? So we're going to put here MPS, Mighty Process Server. Mighty Process Server is a education platform, right? With networking and marketing opportunities, right? And so it's like you have all of the things you're tied to. And as you link these, you just keep adding another one. So when you get a new listing, you'll just go copy, paste. See? And you just add another link, add another link, add another link. And this should be a mile long. And then when Google crawls your page and they see your links page, they're going to see who you're connected to. I'm just a little bit I like to have link pages be a certain way. Link page, something like that. Nobody sees that but me, and then your link titles. We have a really cool inside of our builder. We have a AI that will create inside of Mighty Website Builder. It will create tags. We got that added not too long ago, and it's just like one of the best features. Let's see here. So you can manually just add stuff here. So link page could be called something different. I don't want to go into this too much. It gets a little too techy for most people. So, but it's not that bad, but I just don't want to bore everybody. But that's essentially what you're going to do. You're going to add a link page. You can call it our memberships. So if somebody does end up on this page somehow because Google ranks it, right? If Google ranks this page, somebody ends up on it, you still want to have the ability for people to come in and message you. Jessica, I just certified by my state as a woman-owned business by the State Office of Enterprises. Would that go on this page? Absolutely. Any link, any and all links related to this business, you should add here as a membership. Because you're telling Google, just look at this page like your card to Google. You're making this so easy for Google. You're saying Google, just in case, have you ever been in class and they're like, when you were a kid, you're in school or whatever, or maybe in some kind of training you're in, they're like, we're gonna come around, please write down your top three goals. And or you're gonna tell us your top three goals. And when we get to you, you're just gonna spit them out. You're gonna tell us what they are. And then they get to you. And by the time they get to you, you already have them all three written out, signed, stamped, all the other things that might need to be done for this project they have for you. That's what you're doing here. You're telling Google, look, you don't have to just crawl my website and decide what type of industry it is. You can just look and see who we're connected to. And if you just connect to other websites and say, hey, I know TPSA, but TPSA is not linked back to you, then Google's like, oh, I see. You just want to be connected to NAPS. You just want to be connected to TPSA as a legal service provider, but they don't recognize you in your website. So this is why it's so important that you have a link back to you as well from them. It's like an interconnected. It's the web is why they call it the World Wide Web. Everything's interconnected. And these backlinks help things it helps them know who you're connected to and who they should categorize you with, if that makes sense. And then you just hit republish and it'll publish it again. Okay. So welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let me think here. What's the next thing? Oh yeah, so going back to school here. Let's go back into school. So you have your link page set up. People wanting to join. Okay. Nope. Sorry, bro. Maybe we'll see. I gotta vet them first. Okay, so when it comes to school, they have a lot of different things going on. But inside a classroom here, the affiliate networking. All right, we did day one. I'm gonna add day two, and we're gonna get into this some of this stuff. So getting organized is what we just did. We got our page, and what you're gonna do is as you add your links and your different business listings, you're gonna add them to this page. So it doesn't matter if it's legal related. If it's a Yelp listing, you put it on here. We're connected to Yelp. And then you say Yelp is a directory, blah, 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 blah. I like using ChatGPT because it kind of takes the thinking out of it, right? If I tell ChatGPT, hey, I'm just going to do it right now, real quick. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. If you're on YouTube as well, you can ask your questions. That was day two. Day three, here we go. Where is my chat? No, 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 no. If you guys are watching the channel, please subscribe. Let Google know that process servers need to know about this. I'm not sure where the chat's at. Maybe I gotta refresh it. But so go to ChatGPT and then you just from your links page, whatever website builder you have, you should be able to add a page, right? So come over here and just say what is because you should have a Yelp listing, you should have a Google listing, right? And you can separate these however you want, but Google my business. And then, Google My Business is blah, blah, blah. Create a summary for what Google My Business is and does for small. Remember, Google is like a data engine. It wants to see that you understand that, right? And so, well, it's going to go a little far here, make shorter. like you're asking for too much, pal. There you go. Something simple. Okay. So you take this and you just plug it on into your deal here, and then boom, interactions. You should read through it, make sure it's accurate for you. And you don't have to do it like this. You could just put links, but I've noticed in the past when I've seen what ranks better and what doesn't, this has helpful because it's a nice summary that may not be anywhere else because ChatGPT pulls this and then uses AI to spit it out in a way that it thinks is appropriate. When I tell it make it shorter, it removes certain things, right? So this might be a great summary that Google just loves about itself. Or and same thing with Yelp, when you do the Yelp one. I don't recommend paying for Yelp's like premium thing or whatever, but definitely having one of their free listings. I saw a hand raised. Did I answer your question, Jessica? Or okay, perfect. So, okay, so let's see here. Now what I could do is just go create a summary. Actually, let's say now do that for Yelp. I forget that it's smart. Yeah. Is it still thinking? You can actually hit this right here. It's copy, but it actually takes away. And those of you guys who don't know about ChatGPT, it's free. I have a paid version, but you can use a free version. It still works. What's happening? There we go. All right, so I hope that makes sense. So you just plug those in. If you want to take this a step further, you could come into the text here and really just personalize it to your company. What I can imagine is something like um the journey of why you decided to use Yelp. Tell a brief, intriguing story about why I chose to list with Yelp. Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but it makes it personal. It's impossible for you to give a description of Yelp like anyone else when it's a story. And so I like doing this because, you know, and this is another option instead of just giving a description. I like this because it's very unlikely that anybody else is going to do this. And so you could change it. I noticed something interesting. People weren't just looking for services. They were looking for trust. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? That's just so good. Like, it's just intriguing. Like, it's using different words. It's using different. So I chose to list with you because I wasn't just about getting my name out there. It was about building credibility through real customer experiences. That's so good. That's so good for marketing. That is so good, especially for brand loyalty, stuff like that. So it's not about Yelp. A lot of people are like, why would you want to promote Yelp? No, you're promoting your story. You're promoting your story. Yelp is just a part of it. And you want to give, and this is another way. This is my preferred method, but it takes a little more time because you do have to read through these, right? You have to read through them. They can't be untrue. You want them to be somewhat accurate. All right. I hope that makes sense. So you're going to put all your links on one page. The page really doesn't have to be available anywhere. Google's going to find it. Where, where you do where you do want to put your page though is at the well, you don't have to, but one place you could put it is down here. So where you have your privacy policy, all this kind of stuff at the bottom. Join or preferred president. Visit our YouTube channel. Yeah, this is a perfect spot for it down here. Boom, boom, boom. I have all these resources for attorneys down here. Um, oh, here it is. Let's see. Oh no, okay, yeah, good. So there's still a link there. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's just called new page. That's funny. So I changed the hyperlink, but I didn't change the name. So we're gonna call this memberships. Okay. I mean the domain is links pages, but still. Does anyone have questions about that? It's a little bit techy, but not too bad. And using the builder, Mighty Website Builder makes it super simple. Yeah, go ahead, Jessica. Are you in the chat? Let me see. How many times do you have the FAQ questions on your website on different pages? And the FAQ is at the bottom of the page. Yeah, so you can link, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't call it FAQ. I know that's what we have here. I have it at the bottom of the page. I actually have it. Some websites I put it on every single page. As you can see here, my FAQs is in the footer. So I wanted to show up in every single page because I wanted to rank for e-filing. Well, in California, I want to rank for e-filing for this website. So that's why it shows up in every page in the footer. So no matter what page you go on, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see FAQs. Right. This page is highly optimized for people to just order a service, pick a service and move on. Okay, it says thanks, yeah. But for the links page, let me hit preview real quick. This is a broken link, and I'm not sure even why it shows up there. Let me see. This link takes them back to the home page, which is not even true. Privacy policy, FAQs. Yeah, I could leave that, and it should scroll. Yeah, see, it should scroll down to an FAQ section, which I can do, which is really easy inside the builder. You can come down here. Oh, I'll just do it real quick. We can go edit. Amazon add. Da, da, da. Can you tell I rarely do this? Connect data, edit, HTML. Somewhere you can add an anchor or name it. I think you can name it somehow. I have to have the girls do this. That's funny. Oh, because it's in the footer. Yeah, so it won't let you anchor it because it's in the footer. That's why. Okay. So that's why this anchor is broken because I moved the FAQs into the footer. So I'll just get rid of this. Or I could make this its own page, or I could do a lot of different things, but I'm just going to get rid of it. Some people like go crazy over FAQs. They want to have FAQs everywhere. But we have articles and stuff like that. And if people want to call or if they want to scroll, if they scroll just a little bit, right? If they scroll just a little bit, they'll see FAQs as well. So that's that. So just republish it. Yeah, using our builder is actually super easy. Okay. Okay. So let's kind of back things up here a little bit. I'll stop screen share. So I heard some people come in while I was going. So we got Ryan. Good morning, Ryan. How's it going?
Good
People
morning.
in the
How y'all
morning.
doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. You guys awake?
Yeah, I'm just I got like 15 jobs I got to print out today, and they all got about 170 pages each.
Well, you're making some money today.
Yeah, today's the day.
Hmm. You work hard today, you can relax on the beach tomorrow.
That's the plan.
I love it, man. That's great. That's great news. You charge per page?
Yeah, I do. It's but only after 50 pages. So since it's 170 pages each, and this particular company, I think we only charge 10 cents a page as opposed to our normal 20.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. It's a good that's a great example that for people to hear is a lot of people, including me, we do up to 50 pages for free or included in the price. And then anything after that, it's 10 cents a page. Sometimes people will do a tiered pricing. But when I learned to start charging for pages was when I had one legal send me something, it was like 250 pages. And Cliff was like, well, can you, do you really need to charge that much? How about we do like 2 or 3 cents a page? And so he got me to charge like 5 cents a page. I got him up to five. And then I looked on their website and they charge 25 cents a page, no matter how many pages, even before 50. And I was like, interesting. So this whole time they've been charging 25 cents a page and I don't charge them anything for pages. And I told him that and he's like, well, Michael, we had a deal. I'm just like, okay. So it really is your own business and you have to decide how much you're going to charge for what and why. Why is it? Because they can charge their customer whatever they want. Cliff was right. It has nothing to do with me and him, right? So you gotta come up with what works for you. So that's a lot of printing to do. What do you got? A brother printer?
No, I had two HP printer. I used to have two other brothers printer, but when I had a house fire back in December of last year, it kind of ruined it. But I've
Mm,
always had these two HP printer in the office and two at home, and two of the brothers at home. They
okay.
work pretty good. I mean, one is pretty fast. The other one's a little slow, but I use it for color. But it does help when I have a lot of pages anyway. I'll get it started on one and get it started on the other, and then whichever gets done first, I'll it goes it take the next set in line.
Yeah, it's nice when you have multiple printers because getting pages mixed up is a thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
done with that yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Well, good luck with that. Yeah, you get the big binder clips.
Yeah, but I actually got the 240 page stapler too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was a beast.
Yeah.
I don't know how many pages ours was. We had a big one in my office when I had an office and personnel and stuff. We had this big giant one. You had to push first for a long time. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's cool, man. That you can keep somebody honest with that thing.
Oh yeah.
That's great. That's great. And how's it going, Andy? Good morning. I waited to say good morning till he was like getting his food, his coffee. Cool. Well, I hope you guys are getting value. I know that if you do this with when it comes to the putting links on your page and stuff like that, your page will start ranking better. Um, and if you don't have a website at all, that's the next step, right? Like get a website. You don't have to build one with us. We will build and design a $10,000 website for you. You just pay $500 and then we host it for you. And but you're welcome to do it. However, I know a lot of people who are like me and when I first started and just you want to tinker with your website for forever. But I will tell you, if I could go back in time, hire somebody, even if I had to pay $10,000 so that I could focus on actually prospecting for new business, that's what I would have done. That's what I would do differently. And I know I'm biased right now, but it's true because I've given you all the tools. If you guys watch inside the classroom, let me go back to Zoom real quick. And I want to go to the next section here in networking. So there we go. So if you go inside of the classroom and you go into basic training, I don't know if I should call it basic. I feel like it is basic training. It's not really like here's how you knock on a door. It's more like let's build a business, right? Because that's really the perspective I take. I feel like anybody could get out of a car and knock on a door, but there's certain things I want to add here, like safety. I do talk about it in here, but actually going out and serving papers and showing how to stay safe while you're out there and stuff. But basically, this is about building a business because that's how I can help you the best. But if you go in here and like, let's say you had someone build your stuff, your website for you, you could actually start prospecting. And if you watch this number 3 and number 4, this is a 3-hour video where I'm essentially prospecting and cold calling attorneys and just going out there and crushing. I show you. I actually talk about Serve Manager, talk about different softwares that I've tried, I've used. Um, and so at some point I might make this easier to watch. It's only 3 hours. It's 3 hours, but we're just crushing it. We're just going through everything that I can think of, that you would need to know as a new server. The Zoom Vault is just going to have the mastermind replays. It's not going to have these ones that we're doing this week. Those ones are going to be here in the affiliate networking section. So you want to show up live if you're not whatever level this is. And also like it's pretty easy to go up levels if you make a post, an interesting post that people want to comment on. Like look, Ryan, you've already kind of like jolted to the top here, which is great, man. So you make a post and people comment on it, you get points. That's how it works.
Oh, nice.
Also, you might have noticed um if I'm always posting things that have the little engagement tag. So this little engagement tag, like right here, complete action. So all you have to do is comment in here and it'll give you points.
Yeah, I've seen
So
that already.
yeah, so that's another way to get easy points. So either way, I think it's easy enough that people should just do it. You just comment and engage, and then with each level, another course is going to unlock. And eventually, I'm going to be far enough ahead of this. And if you're a directory member, like you've paid for Mighty membership, all of these unlock except for these last three. So you get all the way up to level 6 immediately. So you don't have to worry about engagement, I guess. But eventually you might because these other ones don't unlock. And the reason why is because the people who start doing this, they're not necessarily just serving anymore. Now you're actually at behind the desk power forwarder, learning how to find people for a discount, which we're going to talk about anyways. But basically, you could have your people in your office watch this course and understand how to use a software, how to manage things, how to be your number two, basically. And then contracts, we're going to go over how to get contracts, how to write them, how to propose them, how to demonstrate yourself different from the others. Because whenever you do a bid on a contract, they're going to ask you, not always, but sometimes they're going to ask you to do a presentation. And so we're going to talk about how to get to that point where they're asking you to be one of the top three to give a presentation and how to differentiate yourself from everybody else. That's going to be a really good one. And then, of course, the mentorship. This is where it's like, okay, you're already successful. You're doing really well. How can we help others in this community? And right, and kind of team up on that and see how we can grow this thing and make a little money at the same time. So there's a lot of opportunities to do a lot of cool things if you actually engage in the community and you're a part of it. So I'm going to make some individual short videos for each of these. Does anybody have any questions so far of the material, the content and stuff that we've went over the last couple of days? It's kind of basic stuff when it comes to like a little bit of techie stuff, a little bit of cold calling other members in different areas. We talked about yesterday. Talked a little bit about the associations and why they're important. I didn't go too much into private investigator and associations, but I recommend every process server that wants to do this long term, like as a career, become a private investigator. Every state's a little different, so I understand why if you don't, but I think at some point it might be a situation where all process servers are PIs, So I don't know that that's going to be true. I'm just saying it seems like it would make sense long term. Paralegal associations, these are the people you want, the networks you want to be in. You want to be that one process server among thousands of paralegals, even if you have to pay money for it. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today, paralegals, and how we can give them value. And I want to do it based on, I'm going to give a few examples because we talked about it a little bit, but I want to give a few examples and talk about how we could do it. Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, and some back pain and sneezing hurts. Okay. So we're going to kind of go through a couple of these. So the National Association of Legal Assistants, this is one of the biggest ones. And all of these, one thing about these that they all have in common is they have a conference. I don't know, I don't get it, to be honest with you. I mean, I know they need CEs, that's a big part of the reason why. Um, but but it's so ingrained in what they do for you to be a part of what they're doing. Like it's so ingrained in what these associations are doing to have, look at this right here. Immediately on their website, look at this. 360 legal. I wonder how much this ad was. I wonder. I mean, I wonder because I'm like, if it's $360, I don't know, I'm thinking of that number. But if it's $360 for the year, do you think it'd be worth it? I don't know. How many members are there of NALA, right? I actually prefer to do more boots on the ground, okay? And this is the reason why, because I can control a little bit better how I'm going to get customers from doing this. And so what you can do is you find out their conference and then you become an exhibitor. Okay, people are like, "Well, that's a lot." I see people with booths and all this stuff. Well, they give you the booth, they give you the table, you get a tablecloth, you show up there, get a couple little flyers made, have some swag made for like 200 bucks, and you can show up to all of these conferences. So here's one. Okay, where's it at? Here. Oh, legal investment. Yeah, you could do that too. That's a great one. We went to one conference there. Um, court reporters. This one. This one right here. Yes, this one, because they actually get C's, guiding educators for American Association of Paralegal Education. Yeah, yeah. So you just want to put all of these conferences that you can find on a list. And then what you want to do is you want to have an exhibitor booth at them. It's cool if you can always offer to speak about something. But the best thing to do is to actually just show up as an exhibitor because as people are walking around, you're going to be networking and talking with these people. Now here's what you do. This is I know I'm going to briefly go over this and some of you guys are going to be like later on you'll be like, "What are you talking about?" But this is so powerful. If you have a CRM, customer relationship management tool like Follow Up Boss, which I've talked about, or Pipedrive, you can actually create an automation inside of there. So when you're at these conferences and you're talking to the person and you put their name, instead of putting their name in your phone, you put their name in your like in your in your contacts, you actually put their name directly into the CRM. So when when they say, "What's your name?" "Oh yeah, yeah, it's so great to connect with you. I'll send you an email. What's your name?" Boom, 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 boom. You could also do this while you're on the phone with people, actually, instead of putting it, in your Gmail, put them in your CRM immediately, comment on something, put a comment in there about what you took away from that conversation, whatever it is. Here's the powerful thing. You can set up an automation that sends them an email every so often, whatever your email blast is that you're sending out, your email newsletter. And then that is how you're going to end up getting the work. You're probably not going to get the work right away, but they're going to be, "Oh yeah, I met him at that conference. There's something different about this person I met at this conference." They're messaging me. They're like, he owns a big company. He actually gave a little presentation there, blah, blah, blah. This is the kind of way that you do it where people will start using you at scale. Now, ideally, you have some type of a service that you offer in specialty that you offer, a niche that you offer that is different than everybody else, because then you're not just everyone else. If you see two people and these people, no, I won't give that example. Looks are so biased from different people, right? But if you see two companies and one company has the service that they offer where they do 10 different things and another one offers 5, you tend to think that the 10 are better. But actually the one that offers only the 3, 4, or 5 services often is better at those 3, 4, or 5 services than the one who offers 10. The one who offers 10 is just they're doing too much. And even if they were good at them, there's something about us socially that we look at as specialists. Like in the medical field, it's very common that in the medical field that it's you go to the general doctor and he's like, "Yeah, you got a skin problem. I need to send you to an you got a kidney problem. I got to send," and they're just sending you to all these different doctors who specialize in one type of medicine. And those specialists are the ones that get paid the most money. If you want to be a general practitioner, you don't get paid as much as someone who's a neurosurgeon who studied just this one area of the brain for 20 years. Does that make sense? Like you could be a general practitioner and do very well. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in general, it's pretty well known that specialists get paid more. So be a specialist. Have a process serving company that you own and operate. And obviously you're working in because you're serving papers, but you're a specialist in something. One thing that I said for a long time was I'm a specialist in skip tracing. I could find anybody because it related so much to process serving. And so when somebody would go, really, you find anybody, anybody. And what's crazy is like if for some reason I couldn't find them, I've already worked with this person so much in trying to find them, and they've paid me to find them the $75. That by the time we're done and we built so much rapport, they're just like, Mike, I get it. It's no big deal. Like, and that's only happened, I think, twice. And the guy was homeless and he was running. He was actually actively avoiding her. She was trying to serve him child support papers. And he had a boat. And so sometimes he'd be out on the river. And so her and I did a stakeout one time for 2 hours, just sat out there. I'm like, you got to point him out to me. And so we sat out there and by this river, by this lake, I mean, and no, it was a river. It was a river, and he's supposedly going to be fishing that day. She saw on his social media, and he just lived in on his friends' couches. So the absolute worst case scenario, if you go too heavy on your marketing message, is that you give a refund. It's not going to break the bank for you to give a $75 refund. Go serve 2, 3, 4 more papers. You're going to be fine. And that negative energy and that negative experience that could come from that is now gone. That person is like dead to you, right? You're just there. You don't even think about them anymore. So that's the idea. All right. So the Paralegal Association. So one of the things to do is when you go to these conferences, which I'm about to do, by the way, I'm about to do it for process serving conferences. And what you want to do is you want to get a booth. You want to offer to volunteer as a speaker. Now, I'm going to waive my normal speaking fee, which is zero. I'm going to waive my normal speaking fee. You could charge money I could charge money to speak, but I don't, right? But I say I'm going to waive my normal speaking fee. I'm going to, I'll pay your exhibitor fee. And if I could at some point have an opportunity, even if you don't need me as a speaker, to address everybody, maybe during the banquet when everybody's there, because I want to give away a flat screen TV. And now we actually do a curved digital monitor. The digital monitor cost me about $150, $200. Okay, they're pretty nice. And everybody wants one. For some reason, I don't know. I was giving away TVs for a while. I'm like, who wants a 32-inch TV? Everybody wants the 70 something. So I did the big one time. And then people are like, well, how am I going to get it home? You know? Um, so, we started doing the curved monitors. People are having trouble getting in. 45 minutes late. Let me see if I can help you. Bum, 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 bum. I don't mind if you guys are late. I'm just messing. Let me see. Bum, bum, bum. Copy invite link. I think that was a text message though. That's gonna make it difficult. So just gonna hopefully help somebody get in here. The best way to message me, you guys, even if you have my cell phone, is on school. Because my cell phone, I get just blown up by different messages. So if you want to message me, have a question, go to the school platform and message me there. Direct message me there. What is that? Who is this? I was at my job. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, no worries. No worries, no worries, no worries. Okay. All right, guys. So you're at the paralegal. I don't know. You're at the paralegal association. I'm not screen sharing, am I? What a mess. Okay. Back to screen sharing. Okay. So you're at the paralegal association and I'm sorry, at the conference. Okay. And what is this conference trying to accomplish? What you're going to find a lot of times is they want to grow their membership. And so you having a social media presence and being connected with lots of other paralegals, attorneys, and process servers can help them. Now, are you going to drive their membership up dramatically? No. But if they see that you are some type of a resource to them, they're gonna love it. And when you go as an exhibitor and people are walking around and you're meeting people, that's going to be great. But where you're actually, I don't need a screen share right now. Where you're actually going to benefit the most is actually at the bar at 7 p.m. Friday night. You don't have to drink if you don't want to, but that's where you're going to benefit because I can't tell you how many times I wasn't sure about a certain relationship with somebody because they were kind of like off-putting or just kind of like rude or they seemed rude or whatever. And then I would stay late, go to the poker game. By the way, I win almost every poker tournament at these conferences. I love them. I love going. It's just one of the best rapport builders. Nobody's happy and happy for you after because they all just lost. So that's a weird feeling. But when you go to the bar and you're hanging out with them, wherever it is, sometimes you just go out to get a bite to eat at one of the local restaurants nearby. You see them as humans. You see them as people who just want to have a good time after this conference that they went to. Some of them are employees of other companies that were asked to go. Some of them are actual go-getting, like, they own their company and they're a lot of times getting tipsy and they're just telling you everything about their company, about their business, about other people in the industry. I'm giving away the goods here, but I'm telling you right now, going to conferences, professional process server conferences are really good. But to go to a paralegal conference, man, they wild out because when they work, they're going like full time, like. And so when you go and you actually go to some of these conferences, you'll make relationships that will last a lifetime. And here's what when a paralegal goes from one attorney to another, and the new attorney that she goes to is using a different process server in your area, she's going to convince the attorney to use you. Why? Because she's the one making the decision. She's the one that has to pick up the phone and call you or email you. And so that's when it comes to conferences, it's like if you were going to date, you would need to go into the dating pool. You would need to get online, maybe on an app or something like that. You need to get in the dating pool. The customer pool is the paralegal associations. That's it. So show up, sponsor an event, be the person that is the business owner, not just a process server, and you'll start to scale. You'll see scale like never before. Because when you walk into these places, don't get me wrong, that's a great way. That's how I built my first, that's how I got my first 10K. And it took me over a year, right? It was just going into all these places. But now, if you're sponsoring these association events, you're showing up and being an exhibitor, it might cost you anywhere from $500 to $2,000 to be an exhibitor, but it's worth it, you know? And if you're not sure about that yet, partner with another process serving firm. Say, hey, let's go and and partner up on the member. Andy, you had something?
Yeah, quick question. Hi, by the way, how are you guys doing?
Hey,
Um,
good to see you.
Good to see you too. Quick question. I don't know the legality of this, but do we have the right to give a kickback to the paralegal for
Oh yeah,
giving us work?
it's a tip.
Pretty much.
They're a private industry, right? They're a private company. If it's a court employee, they can get in trouble for it. You could lose a case over it, right? You could be called into court for, payoffs or whatever. So with it, when it comes to court employees, sheriff's department, government employees, I'd be very careful. But with a
No, I
paralegal,
was just talking about paralegals.
yeah, no, man, it's open season paralegal. Let me tell you, I have spent so much money on paralegals. I've coffee, donuts, gift cards. I even bought one paralegal a dress. She's like, I won't wear dresses. And this one I didn't date, but her friend I did date, and she was telling me it'd be so funny if you just brought in a pink dress for her. And so like I was like, what's her size? And I literally brought in a dress. Also I didn't just randomly go into attorneys' offices and bring dresses and candy and stuff. I would often go serve something and have a proof of service. And even though I could email it, especially once e-filing started, I wanted to personally hand deliver the signed proof of service with my seal. I don't know if you guys saw earlier, but I have one of my shirts here. Let me get it. Look at this. This seal, I had this seal made, custom stamp made with this seal, 530 seal. This is my shirt. But this rope is the outside of the California seal, this rope with the line and these little things. And so I made this inside 530 registered process servers as a stamp, just the circle part. And I would stamp every proof with it. And I had one judge be like, "Who told you could do that?" Like, no one told me I couldn't. And so he was like, "Oh, fair enough." And so yeah, so you go in there and you find opportunities to give them stuff. And so I would stamp everything I gave them with my seal. And except for that dress. But one day came in and gave the girl a dress, and they were like, they'd never forget that. It was like an office full of paralegals, there's like 10 in there. And all of them sent me work. Like if someone ever didn't send me work, I would hear them on the phone, like, "You don't send stuff to Mike? What are you talking about? Like he's our server." And so they would rally around that, and that's what you want. You want to build relationships with people that will last a lifetime. And if I was still local in Chico, California, I'd still be going into those offices because they were friends. And whatever biases you have, because I had them, whatever biases you have that, well, that's not me, or I don't know people like that, or it starts with you making the call. It starts with you walking into the office. It starts with you showing up to the conference and doing the thing, whatever it is, whatever thing it is that you're doing to promote yourself. That's what it starts with. Great question though. Yeah, you can that's if there's anybody. I mean, I shouldn't say that like 100% because some states may say, so I mean maybe you look up your local laws and or consult with an attorney because but as far as I know, paralegals work for an independent attorney who can get paid whatever he wants to get paid, right? He can get paid 5 grand, 10 grand, 100 grand, whatever. Where you
I
may run
was I was basically talking to about like for instance, every single job you give me like to serve, I'll
Mhm.
give you this much money or this much percentage. I don't, again, that part I don't know if it's
I think
something.
that's just a relationship between the attorney and her. If you're giving her kickbacks aside from what you're paying the attorney's office, the only person I could see having a problem with it would be the attorney. The attorney would be like, "Whoa, wait a minute, why? But what do you? Well, why aren't we using John? Oh, because Andy's giving me $5 every time I send him a job." Now, if I were her, I would just tell the attorney, "Hey, he's offered to give us basically a $5 discount on every job if I use him." Because that's the same thing, right? You're giving her a kickback instead of giving her a discount, you're just giving her a kickback. So in fact, what you're doing is you're taking $5 from the attorney and giving it to her. Because you could just be giving the attorney a $5 break, right? So that's what I'm saying. I think it's legal. I think it's fine legally. I think it's an issue. It could be an issue with the attorney. So instead of giving them money, give them stuff. Starbucks gift cards are always a win. Always a
God,
win with paralegals. I don't know why. I mean, I know Starbucks is pretty good, but it's also just their culture. They go get a Starbucks before they hit the office. They're there, maca chocolate lattes. This is what they do. This is what they do. This is what they love, right? So today I want to we kind of went over that. I wanted to touch on the links page, which we went over. You guys go watch on the replay if you didn't see that. Basically just showed you what I meant about the links and how you can put them on your website. for all of your different directory listings. It is one of the 27 ranking factors for Google to have backlinks and have a backlinks page that is on your website. We talked about some of the association stuff. Now I want to talk about business networking groups, private groups that you can be a part of that have really helped me at times. One is called Business Networking International, BNI. Let me just look it up here. BNI is in, oh, that's a keyboard thing. BNI is in every city. And I've talked about this, not on this training, but before. BNI.com or BNInetworks.com. Let's see. They do have BNI.com. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. This, if you get this right, can be so powerful because it'll be immediate work for you. Immediate work. Okay. So let me just show you. So like this is BNI. And they'll send you referrals, right? But what happens is as a process server, and I was thinking about this today, is how do you get in front of somebody at that moment that they need you? Because they don't always need you, right? So how do you get in front of an attorney or somebody else who might need a process server when they're suing somebody for divorce or because they built their fence on the wrong side of the property line? How do you get in front of them? Well, you don't. What it is that you get in front of them before they need you, and you stay in front of them no matter what, and you build a brand that makes you known as the process server in your area. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I don't want you to take offense because I'm a process server. I've been a process server. It's just like in my blood, right? Once a process server, always. But process servers aren't looked at with glory in any way, shape, or form where people want to remember you or be like, oh, he's a process server. What? No. So what you have to do is you have to attach it to something else that they do find interesting so that you can actually brand and market yourself with branding. And that is private investigator. Why? Because they don't just serve papers and ruin people's lives. People think, you're the messenger. I get that, right? We've talked a lot about that. But it doesn't matter. It's kind of like the bail bondsman or the bounty hunter. Some people think that's a little cool, but not really, because they're like, cool, you found them, you drug them back, you have a dangerous job. That's pretty much the only reason why they think it's cool is because it's a dangerous job. But a private investigator has to be smart. They have to think about things. They have to figure things out. There's lots of detective type shows, right? So that's one way. That's a hard way. In some states, that takes a lot of time. I know California was like insane amount of hours. Florida was no better, right? So instead of going down that road right away, let's talk about being a skip tracer or judgment recovery specialist. And the reason why is because everyone has someone who owes them money. And if you go to these BNI networking groups, what you're going to find is that these people, when they ask you what you do and you say you're a process server, it's going to fall flat, right? It's going to fall flat. I think you could get some work from it, but it's going to fall flat. But if you show up there and you say, I help people collect on debt where they've already received a judgment, and I can find anybody if you're trying to serve them, that's not going to fall flat. That's going to go, what? Yeah, I can find anybody and I can serve them for you. But I can also collect on I don't have a collection company. I don't have a collection agency. But if you already have a judgment, I will collect that money. We will go after that money for you. I can help you get that money. And that pays a premium. If somebody owes somebody $10,000, you can get $5,000 of it. Think about that. Like a realtor helps somebody sell a house, they get a chunk of their money. It seems unfair, but they get 3%, sometimes 6% total on both sides, buyer and seller, right? And they get such a huge percentage chunk of the person's house. You could do that. You could get 50% of a judgment. It's a very common thing because why? They can't collect on it themselves. They don't want to have to do the research. They don't know what's going on. I have gotten tens of thousands of dollars doing judgments. I've bought judgments for a couple $100, put a levy on a guy's bank account, got $12,000 back. You can make a lot of money collecting on judgments because the person owed somebody money. But without you, without somebody to help them, they're never going to see that money. And so you can go after that. Now, that's pretty cool. And that's something you can market. Does somebody owe you money? You've already received a judgment. Reach out to me. I will collect on it for you. How hard is it? Not that hard at all. Does anybody, you already do that, Ryan, right? You do that? Okay. So like
I've been doing it for 22 years.
it's so you know way more about it than me. Like I've done some, but if you've been doing it that long, like is it something where it's like like what am I trying to say? Is it that difficult overall? I mean, there's some different papers, different procedures, but at the end of the day, if you can find the person, you know where they work, you know what properties they own, can you collect from them?
Yes, absolutely. And you can always at least get the first payment because a lot of the ones I experience will run to bankruptcy court.
Right.
A lot of them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So they go through bankruptcy
Make
and you got
sure at the time of signing the contract, I mean, people had this thought, well, I can get my $50,000 back. That's why I always say the smallest judgments actually offer the best to collect on. And I hate to say it because you're doing a lot of work here. But but nobody's going to fret over losing maybe a couple grand as opposed to say $50,000.
yeah.
I have
And you
many
can pick and
judgments.
choose too, right? Like you could decide, I don't think I'm going to take this one,
And
or
I had 10 of them came in last week, and I turned down probably about 6 of them
okay.
because of different reasons. Like it's not high enough, or I can't seem to find any asset. This guy probably lives out in the street, whatever.
Mm.
I do pick them.
So you're one of those guys. I like that. I actually really like that. I'm glad you brought that up. One of those guys where it's like, look, let me do a quick search,
Yes.
see if there's anything here. Because if you can't find out where they work, you can't find out any assets that they own. You don't know about. They have no idea where they bank or anything like. You really just have no leads on that. Then why take the job? Because then some people actually charge a fee. Do you charge a fee or do you do a percentage of the debt?
It's all percentage.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what most people do. So if you go in to these BNI groups, that's what they're really good about. They're really good about that's how I got started with it actually with judgment. As I went, I said I could find anybody, a skip tracer, and they started telling me, well, this guy, I just had so many people come up to me after at this BNI networking group, and they invited me to a real estate networking group. And then I said I was a skip tracer, and they wanted me to speak about finding people and collecting on judgments. So I learned a lot about judgments there because I was like, well, they all want me to collect on their judgments. And I knew about writs. I had served writs. I had served levies on banks, but I didn't prepare them. So I didn't know anything about them. So I had to learn, right? So I feel like failing forward is a big part in any business. If you didn't have a dad or somebody to show you the whole business, then you just kind of got to fail forward and figure it out as you go. So I love that, Ryan, that you have that experience that you're on here. And Andy, great question with the paralegal stuff. Let's see, look in the chat here, which I'm also a part of. Oh, yeah, yeah. And place to get training for. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of trainings. Did you say there was a training or is that what you're commenting on, Ryan, about a training?
Yeah, somebody asked me if there was any place to get training for judgment enforcement. There was several networks. There's National Judgment Network that's been defunct since 2017, I think. Only because the main guy that pretty much run the whole thing had brain cancer and passed away in 2012. And we had people try to keep it going, and I didn't have enough time to do it.
Yeah.
And there's Judgment Institute. It's run by Mr. Gray Isidro, and I'm a good friend with him. And there's a couple of them out there. I haven't really vetted them. There's Peter Gilboy. There's Christina Smiley. I haven't bet any of them, so I can't really make a comment one way or the other. I started out at National Judgment Network back in 2002, and then I was with them until probably just a little after 2015, and it just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at Dutch Institute, I'm kind of sort of with him also. And the guy is really expensive. I mean, he goes anywhere between $7,000 to $15,000 to train. I don't charge nowhere near that high. In fact, I rarely charge anything. You guys, if I can find somebody that makes me money, I'm not going to charge you.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it too, right? Is like if you find somebody who wants to learn and then it's like, hey, go find some judgments and bring them back and let's do them together like
Exactly.
that. Because you're going to make money on it. But one really cool thing about the BNI groups, guys, is when you join, you actually find yourself around attorneys because every BNI networking group has an attorney in it. Every BNI networking group has not a paralegal, a contractor, a plumber. You're going to see a lot of local service type companies, and those local service type companies almost always are owed money. Almost always. They did a roof. This happens a lot. Roofers will put someone will order a roof and if you've ever seen houses that they get roofs. I'm looking at one right here outside my window. This guy, we had a crazy hailstorm here in New Mexico, and so as soon as the hailstorm happens, roofers in their trucks are going to every road in that town, in that street, knocking on the door. Hey, we'd love to do a roof inspection because if they can see even a slight tear of one of the tiles, they can do an insurance claim, and oftentimes the local city will actually pay for it. Well, have you ever noticed if you ever seen those, as soon as the person says yes, they will drop pallets in the driveway because as soon as there is stuff property on the property, so sometimes they've started work is what it's called. You've started work on a project, is it is considered billable and can be collected upon. So they will have a pallet dropped on the driveway almost the next day, even if it's not even the right tiles sometimes. And then what they'll do is they'll immediately put a mechanic's lien on the property. And so if for some reason the person decides to change their mind or wants to not pay, there's literally a lien on the house. And if they ever sell the house, the roofer is going to get paid because it can't, it's an encumbrance on title. They have to get paid. So why does that matter for you? Is like when you go out there as a process server and you're dealing with these contractors, understanding that this person who has a lien already on the property, they need to collect. They would love to collect in another way. They probably don't even know they can do a wage garnishment. They probably don't even know that they can do a levy, a bank levy. And so they're just sitting here with a lien on the property, not knowing that they could collect another way. So yeah, Delve Point's great. TLO has been great. I've noticed that Delve Point's better on the East Coast, where TLO has been better on the West Coast. I don't know if people have had a different, I don't know, different experience, but yeah,
Like Dell
definitely.
Point, because it actually gives you the apartment as opposed to say something like micro built. It does not give it to you, or rarely gives it to you.
What is it they give you?
Something beside like Dell Point will actually give you the apartment number.
Oh,
Like some of these, I didn't have too much experience with TLO. I found out the data is pretty much the same and just a little bit more expensive than Dell
yeah.
Point. So I decided to, just stick with Dell Point. I mean, it's a little bit cheaper, so they don't have such a high threshold.
Yeah, yeah. Then
And
you know,
I don't know what the threshold is now, but I started when it was $10, and it still is $10.
yeah, I think mine's 50 for true
I heard
for
a lot of people found out.
TLO. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and but the data compared to some of these ones online, like someone said Truth Finder, uh
I found it a bit dated. I stay away from those.
yeah, I would definitely sign up for Delve Point or TLO or even IRB search or IDI or one of these, yeah. Because they're going to be
Yeah, I
cheaper
had a lot
too.
of problem with because I started with them when they first started out,
Yeah,
and I think they may have gotten better since then.
yeah.
But I was just getting incomplete information. It was driving me nuts,
Their data was
and I get
terrible.
unlimited data for $100 a month, and it just wasn't worth it. I mean, I just couldn't get. I just maybe they're better now, but I did it when they first started. I just
They
couldn't.
are better now. And I think the Delve Point owns them too. Like
Wouldn't spread.
yeah, yeah. I think they bought them or something. But yeah, there's a lot of really crazy stuff going on with that. But I feel like when you're networking with folks, you need to have some type of niche so they can remember you. You know, like have you ever been to a barbecue It drives me crazy, actually. I go to a barbecue. Maybe you guys can relate. I'm sure, Ryan, you can relate for sure. You go to a barbecue, people are like, what do you do?
When you go to a barbecue?
Yeah, when you go to a barbecue or some event where you don't know anybody, you just maybe know your wife, you know the person that invited you, but other than that, you don't know really anyone. Like, what do you do? And 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 that to me,
Just
I've
people,
always
I guess. I mean, I've always gone to a barbecue and I know people.
yeah, well, like I mean like events, you know what I mean? Like networking events
Oh,
or something where people it's kind of a social gathering, but you went for that one friend that invited you. And people are like, "Well, what do you do?" And you're introducing you to folks.
oh,
I've yeah, I've always been like, early on it was like, well, I'm a process server. And then it's like, well, what is that? Oh, so you're in computers, people say stuff like that. Like, no, 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 no. I'm not a process server in a motherboard. I'm a process server that serves legal documents. And then after I would tell them, I would never feel great about it. People would always be like, oh, okay, so you're the guy that serves the papers. Man, that sounds dangerous. Have you ever been attacked? So it always goes down that road. And so I relate this to networking in the business sense because it's the same thing. They're just people. And in a business environment, what happens is they just don't say the other thing about, oh, you must, have you ever been bid or have you ever whatever. So instead of even going down that road and having them have those thoughts and questions, you go down what is the solution that you provide to them? I help people collect on judgments and get people served. I can find anybody, right? And then that is like I've found to be like the best line because then they go, "Oh wow, so you can find anybody, huh?" Like, yeah, I could find anybody. In some cases, I could tell you how much they have in their bank account. Don't make that public. Don't use that on social media. And but you can in some cases. And so and they're just like, whoa. And so they're just kind of like, dude, watch out for this guy. And so if they are at all an attorney or if they at all are owed money, they want you on their side. They're like, oh, let me call Mike, right? There's a couple like that. Locate plus. Oh yeah, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so that's it all. That's all I have for today, guys. Pick a niche, okay? Pick a niche. If you're new to the word niche, it's kind of an entrepreneur word, right? But it means niching down to the point where it's something so specific that people have to relate it to you and you become the best person at that one thing. And I've mentioned this before, but Mike Kern, good friend, is down in LA. He just moved to Texas. His thing is out of state deposition subpoenas. That's his thing. He was a PI before. I don't think he renewed it, but he was a PI. He did subpoenas. Like he's done it all. But out of state deposition subpoenas was the one thing that nobody else was doing that he knew. So he started doing it, became the guy known for that in the industry. Sterling and Madison down there, they became very well known for doing writs. They do thousands and thousands of writs. Everybody would send writs to them. So find a specific niche, double down on it, and then make your marketing revolve around that. And when we do the mighty marketing, when I do the mighty marketing next month, I'm going to dive into that. It's going to probably be one of the biggest courses because I'm going to break down how I use ManyChat, the automation on ManyChat for Instagram, how I use the LinkedIn automation for reaching out to attorneys and trying to schedule to meet with them via Calendly. It's like a complete marketing, like it's going to be the best course on marketing ever, and it's specific to process serving in the legal industry. So I don't want you guys to miss out on that. So this has been good. There's a couple other things I want to go over. We'll touch on tomorrow just to wrap up the affiliate networking. And if you guys think of anything, you have any questions, we'll do a full Q&A tomorrow. If you have any questions or comments or things that you think that I left out, let's dive into it. And there will be little mini videos, like 3 to 5 minute videos on each of those associations showing you the requirements, what it's going to take it to sign up to get approved for them and stuff like that. So Jessica says, can your niche just be your local area surrounding counties? Taking on the whole state feels too big. Of course. But your niche is not related to an area. It's related to what you do. If your niche is just being a process server, that's fine. That's fine. You're just going to say, I'm a process server and I serve this entire area and I'm diligent about making my attempts. And if that's where you want to cap it, That's completely fine. And all the people, attorneys in that area know that you're a process server. But if you want to go to some of these networking events, it would be better to, instead of just being a general process server, you're actually a neurosurgeon, right? So instead of being a general doctor who went to school and became a doctor who should know everything about medicine, right? No, they're a general practitioner, basically like a triage nurse. They can look and see what it probably is, run some tests to confirm what it is, and then they send you to a specialist. Okay, so you're a process server, you're a generalist, you generally serve papers, you can knock on doors, you can breathe and walk and talk, so you can knock on doors. But what is that next level thing that's going to pay you more money? It could just be that you're willing to do surveillance and skip tracing, and you'll find your guy and serve him. You know, for example, I know the rules for subpoena domestication in two local counties, but don't really want to go too far. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could just be the domesticating subpoena, and I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're not competing with Mike Kern down in Los Angeles. You know, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to like compete with the other people who also do that. I'm just saying like have something that you can hang your hat on for a while that you're an expert at, and then you can go change it into a new thing, into a new thing until you find a customer base that wants to send you stuff in volume. And then you're going to be like, okay, this is a niche I'm going to stay in for a little while, right? Maybe it's property managers where you're like, I'm an eviction specialist, and they know that you do that. So whenever you're marketing to property managers or attorneys for property managers, you're an eviction specialist. And when you're marketing to collection agencies, you're a judgment collection specialist. So you can have multiple ones, but your marketing, you have to understand what you're marketing and how you're directing it, how your marketing campaigns are different depending on who you're talking to. Just thinking of customer expectations. Yeah. So definitely setting your customer expectations up properly. But here's the thing. If you're an expert on domestic subpoena domestication in these two local counties, and I'm an attorney in one of those counties, and I reach out to you and I'm like, I actually need one done in let's see, Texas, then you're still my gal. And the reason why is because you can refer me to somebody who knows how to do it in that area. You can charge me for it, and then they can charge you. And you still made a little bit of money, but you maintained that relationship. Does that make sense? I can figure it out. You can figure it out. You are a pro. I'm excited for you, and I love that you're taking awesome, mighty action out there. And I'm excited for everybody who's getting started. This is not the most exciting stuff, but it's the stuff that actually gets you sent work early on in your business. Whether it's the affiliate networking or the directories or getting your website dialed in so you rank on Google. Ryan, you got something?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about the private investigation. That was the next step I was thinking about getting into. Now, from what I understand and the way I read the rules, and I don't know if you have time to already checked into it, or I don't have if you have time to look into it. Maybe I can even send it to you if you like. And it's saying that process servant obviously doesn't allow you to it doesn't allow to be used, but it did say about collection, and as long as you don't already know the address. I think that, I mean, that's just paraphrasing them, but that's my takeaway from it. So, and that's almost all about judgment enforcement because we're always having to look for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering
Yeah.
if that's going to count. If that's going to count, then I can just go take my test and go ahead and get the license and all that. And but I don't know how to exactly prove how long I've been doing it. I guess I can give them some Nevada's judgments and California judgment I've been doing for the last 22 years.
Yeah. What I would say is when I looked into it is they may require some proof. They may want some letters of recommendation. And in that case, you reach out to the attorneys who had you do it or the guys that had you do the collections on it and say, hi, I'm looking to make this a full-time thing. I was doing it on the side for you, and we did this, and it was great. But I want to actually get my PI license. And a lot of times people love to be a part of that. And if they're an attorney, their letters of recommendation will 100% be valid. If they're not an attorney, they may not be. They really like to see a letter from a PI.
Well, I
But
got my old business partner was a former police officer, and he was also a college professor as well. That's how I met him. I met him
okay,
in
so
college.
I would just have him figure
Yeah,
out how many hours it is and
you
have
know me
just
since 2014.
okay, so you
I'm
already
like
have it.
2004.
You already have it. Just tell him like, hey, could you just write me a letter, find out all the details, exactly what needs to be in the letter. I think there's like a few bullet points, and then just tell him, hey, and his one letter saying he's worked under me for 6,500 hours or whatever the crazy amount of hours it is now. I think it might be 10,000 hours now. Actually, I can't
It's
remember.
well for me it's 2000 because I got a bachelor degree in criminal justice.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, you just get that, and then you show your bachelor's degree, and then boom, you pretty much get it.
Yeah, I think I already got it a long time ago.
Yeah. So it's easy for you because you've already put in the work though too. Like you deserve it. You've put in the work.
Right,
Whereas as if you're starting from scratch, it's like, man, I gotta work. Go get a job with a PI, work with that PI for a while. Someone could come get a job with you, Ryan, and say, maybe not a job, but they could come and be available to
right,
go do door knocks and stuff like that, and they could get hours. And it's not like, oh, I went out for 30 minutes, I got 1 hour. No, like you just over the course of 2 or 3 years, they're constantly available to go serve a paper for you, knock on a door, like build a relationship with you that could turn into something so much more than just getting a little bit of money to serve papers. That's how I sell a lot of the university students with serving papers for me for 25, 30 bucks to serve. Because first of all, they want the money, they need cash, they want to go serve while they're not in school. But also the idea that they could get a PI license, I could tell them underneath my license, I could do that for you. Now I don't have that anymore. I don't work with Delta or Horseman or any of those guys anymore. But that's one of the great ways that you can bring on fresh young talent, that there's a potential for them in the future. I
okay,
mean, it's equivalent to, at least an associate's degree, you know,
yeah,
uh, maybe even a bachelor's, like, and it's free. They just have to put in time. It's not free financially free, but they got to put in time. And I think everyone should do it. If I wasn't going all into education and teaching and this networking thing with process serving, then I probably would re-get it. Now I'm in New Mexico, but and I have sons, right? So
Oh,
I'm
you
more,
go to you're in Albuquerque, right?
yeah, just outside. I'm in the mountains of Albuquerque.
So
Yeah, east.
you're not too far from Texas. You can get one in Texas, really easy. And
Oh, really?
and that's what I was going to do when I lived out in New Mexico. I was in Lovington, New Mexico, for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
just
love
not
the
too far
area.
outside of Hobbs.
Okay. Yeah, my dad used to go. We used to race down in Hobbs all the time. It was like the fastest track down there. People were really, yeah. Texas is a great spot too to do it. They have the. I'm pretty sure they have a. Do they have a fault state where it's actually like if you cheat, you end up paying alimony or something? I can't remember. But for
I
PIs,
can look
I
that up.
don't know which state it is. I'll have to look it up. But one of the states is, or a few of the states, they still do fault. I think Georgia maybe. But if you cheat, you lose. So in divorce court, if they can prove you cheated, you lose. You pay alimony, like you're getting raked over the coals. So a lot of PIs in those states, I can't remember who it is. I think it's Georgia because that's where the Robin Martinelli is, I think. Yeah. And I had her on my podcast, and she unfortunately lost one of her legs, poor thing. And like it was like a nervous neurological thing. But she's still doing great over in Georgia, and she's offered to get me a PI license under her quite a few times. But it's definitely something you want to do if you're going to be in this industry a while. Just become a PI. That's one of the things people all recognize as well because of entertainment, and it's easy to market. If you're ever on the news, which is a wonderful thing, she teaches a lot about that. Robin does, and maybe I'll have her come on sometime. She's the one who did the guy who did the Bitcoin thing that ended up becoming a big scam, um, a huge scam. Even Tom Brady invested in it. She's the one that did the investigation on him, and actually went and interviewed him and everything when they were trying to see if he was a scammer and what was going on, where was everybody's money. And she investigated him and his girlfriend and their whole little sex club or whatever they had, and they ended up going out of the country to get away from everybody. She investigated. I haven't talked to her about that since. I should reach out to her and be like, hey, come on, let's talk about being on the news. But that's one thing that made her really famous was she was a process server. She became a PI to help her process serving business because then she could call the news agencies and say, hey, I'm a local private investigator. If you call the news and you go, I'm a local process server, like, okay, go knock some doors and hand some papers out. If you say I'm a private investigator, I'm investigating a case where this guy who disappeared on his family owes child support. We think we got him locked in here. So it just sounds so much more dramatic. And the news people are like, can we come interview you about it? I'm just giving an example, but they will call you too. If you build relationships with them, they'll call you and say, hey, what do you think about this? Do you have a comment on this? And if it's something that you have researched and you can comment on, free media, you know. That's one thing Donald Trump was really good at, is just like just talking about things that the news wanted to show, whether for dramatic reasons or otherwise. And so every day you just see him on the news for everything, which for good or bad in your business, it's good. That's what you want. You want to be everywhere people are talking. So cool, guys. Well, have a great day. By the way, my brisket and my pork shoulder from yesterday, amazing. Amazing. It was a 10-hour cook. I think I got sunburned a little bit.
I was thinking though, when you come out here to San Diego, we can go to one of the barbecue places out here. But anybody to do their own barbecue, it won't hold up. Although
Nah.
they are good, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, like Grand Old Barbecue, that's the one I like to go to,
Okay.
and that's been featured on I kept Dine Dash Dive. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, diners. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was featured on that. But their barbecue is pretty good.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Yeah, we're gonna be there for a couple days, so I'll reach out to you, and I'm gonna try to do the morning masterminds while I'm on the road. I just got my little mini Starlink. It was like $600. I have the main Starlink on the house. That's how I have internet up here in the middle of nowhere mountains. But I got the mini Starlink for the RV, and it seems to work. But I'm here at the house, so I'm like not sure if. But that'll be cool. If I can, I'll keep doing the morning masterminds while I'm on the road. If not, I'll let everybody know inside the community. And if you guys are watching online, you can be a part of this community. It doesn't cost anything. You can come in mightyprocessserver.com, click on classroom, and join the Zoom meetings. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Andy, everybody. Take care, you guys. Be safe and live mighty.